Good morning, members. I call Committee of Supply, Section C, to order. We are meeting today to continue the consideration of the budget estimates of the Ministry of Education and Childcare. I now recognize the Minister to move the vote.
Thank you, Chair. Be it resolved that a sum not exceeding $9,576,781,000 be granted to His Majesty to defray the expenses of Ministry of Education and Childcare Ministry operations.
Recognizing the member for Surrey South.
Thank you, Chair. Good morning to all my colleagues here in the room. Thanks for your participation again today. Through you, Chair, to the Minister, going back on the $30 million announcement for dyslexia programs, what evidence-based screening method will be used, and by whom will these methods be used?
Minister.
Thank you, Chair. Through you to the member, the early screening will be done by the teachers. We are looking at tools. We are also talking to the districts who are already doing the screening and the tools that they are using. But what tools the teachers will be using, that is to be determined. But the focus here is that every child, from kindergarten to grade 3, gets screened early for any kind of if they have any literacy, early learning challenges, and they can get the support.
Member.
Thank you. I'm going to try and roll this next two questions into one, so bear with me. So will all the components then, I think the Minister was saying that they're looking at all early learning and literacy components. So does that include reading, writing, and math? Can you talk to me about that plan? So knowing that dyslexia is a spectrum of degrees of severity, and it's a spectrum of forms, including dyscalculia, dysgraphia, and auditory processing disorder, how will children with these learning disabilities be screened? Will they be screened? And how long will the training be for the teachers who will be supporting them?
Minister.
Thank you, Chair. Through you to the member, there's a difference between literacy screening and a diagnostic assessment to identify a learning disability. What we are implementing is literacy screening that can be done in a classroom setting by a teacher. When we, as I mentioned earlier, Chair, when we identify problems early, we can catch most kids up so that they don't need an extended assessment and they don't need to seek support outside the public school system. This will also mean we can do a better job of addressing the needs of students who do have learning disabilities that require higher level of intervention.
Member.
Thank you. Through you, Chair, to the Minister. Just for clarification, so this early screening program will indicate whether or not the child may be having issues with literacy, but would require further screening and further diagnosis and testing in order for them to understand the scope of what the disability is?
Minister.
Thank you, Chair. Through you to the member, early intervention is the key to find out like what supports a child would be needing, and these early screening would be done by the teachers, and in most of the scenarios, teachers will have the tools to provide that support because the early intervention is happening, early screening is happening, identifying those gaps early on gives the teachers the opportunity to give the resources that the child requires. But if during that early screening process, teacher recognizes there's need for more interventions or diagnosis, the teachers would be referring the child accordingly.
Member.
Thank you. Through you, Chair, to the Minister. Before Budget 2024, the Minister announced a ban on the use of cell phones in classrooms. Would the Minister please outline the policy direction she gave to school districts and how many districts have implemented this policy and which ones?
Minister.
Thank you, Chair. Through you to the member, we are working with the school districts to ensure that all schools have policies in place to restrict cell phone use during instructional time for next school year. We all know that there is time and place for cell phones, and that includes when they are needed for accessibility and health purposes. This also includes teaching students to develop lifelong healthy habits with technology and social media. We have amended the provincial standard code of conduct order. Districts are now in process of updating their policies. Over 30 districts have already they already have policies in place, and the order will be in effect July 1st. All districts will submit to the ministry for review before the start of the next school year.
Member.
Thank you, Chair. Thank you, Minister. Through you, Chair, to the Minister. Can the Minister please tell the House what part of Budget 2024 is aimed to implement this new policy?
Minister.
Thank you, Chair. Through you to the member, as this is a policy change, the districts will be managing this with their existing budgets.
Member.
Thank you. Through you, Chair, to the Minister. So classroom schedules are changing in Surrey due to the failure of this government to plan ahead regarding school capital, which will have a direct impact on students with learning disabilities, let alone families with 2 children and jobs. There's concerns that I've already heard from families where an older child from high school has to provide care for elders, assists in childcare, or works a job where they actually contribute to the financial health of the family. To the Minister, will she stand up and tell the Surrey School District that they're not allowed to change the current school timetable?
Minister.
Thank you, Chair. Through you to the member, we know that Surrey is one of the most fastest growing communities, and more people are making Surrey their home. And I have personal experience with Surrey. I made Surrey my home a number of years ago, and so are many new families moving to Surrey. The district engages with their school community to meet the needs of the community. The ministry does not dictate any district on timetables. The expectation is that they are working with their local communities and making those decisions.
Member.
Thank you, Honourable Chair. Through you to the Minister. So the ultimate responsibility for the well-being and education of students rests with the ministry, rests with the Minister. Given the challenges that I outlined, I too have children in SD 36, including a son who will be attending a school that is supposed to go to staggered starts or even split shifts. So for families that have children both in elementary school and in high school, it creates an incredible issue, especially when there's no bus service available. And, I find it difficult that, yes, of course, school districts are left to have to forge their own way, but they were put in this difficult decision by an underinvestment by this government, asking for a specific number of schools and not getting them. And now they have no choice. They feel that there is no choice but to send kids to school either in split shifts, staggered starts, which will be incredibly disruptive to families. Not to mention have impacts on students with disabilities, take away their ability in some cases to participate in extracurricular activities, perhaps impact their family's finances if they are contributing financially by working a part-time job. There's just so many things that can be impacted here. Has the ministry looked at this? Is there anything in the budget to even study the impacts that this will have on community members in Surrey? The reality is, Minister, that the ultimate, through you, sorry, Chair, I don't want to be disrespectful, but the reality is, Chair, that the ultimate responsibility does lie with the Minister here. And it's fine and dandy to say, well, the school district has to make its own decision, but they are essentially backed into a corner here where they feel that this is the only alternative. And we don't know what type of negative unintended consequences that this change will have. And I would like the Minister please to explain what type of studying they've done on this issue, what type of review, what in the budget is dedicated to ensuring that the students who are forced to do this now and the families that are forced to do this will have the support that they need. How is the Minister who is responsible going to make sure that this can be done and not harm families?
Minister.
Thank you, Chair. Through you to the member, we know that a record number of people have moved to Surrey, and our government is committed to accelerate expansion projects in Surrey. Since September 2017, the province has approved nearly $750 million for projects in Surrey, which will bring nearly 12,400 spaces. The expectation of the ministry is that every child in every district, and especially now what we are seeing, especially with the growing districts, they get the quality education, and that education, there are no barriers to that education. And I think this is the intent of the boards of education also. They are consulting very closely with their community partners. Along with the capital project funding, the Surrey also gets the Feeding Futures funding, which is $8.85 million per year. Also, the student and family affordability funding, which for this year was $1.872 million. So the ministry is working very closely with the district and looking at their needs and also providing the supports that they need.
I ask the minister to move the motion.
Honourable Chair, now I move that the committee rise and report progress and ask leave to sit again.
Minister moves that the committee rise, report progress on the estimates of the Ministry of Education and Childcare, and seek leave to sit again. The question, apologies. Those in favor? Aye. Those opposed? And that motion is carried. Thank you, and we are adjourned.